Hi all, in this session we are going to study about the circuit interruption. Circuit interruption is nothing but whenever there is a leakage in the electric current or overload is there, high fluctuation voltage is there, any short circuit is there, at that time you have to stop the flow of electric current into the electric appliances. At that time we have to use the circuit interruption devices. So we can be safer by automatically shutting off our flow of electricity in the event of leakage, overload or short circuit. So automatically shutting off is done by using the circuit interruption. The ground fault circuit interrupters are nothing but GFCI, in short form you can say GFCI. So these are the circuit protection devices. So these are going to stop the overflow or a leakage or any short circuit or any fluctuation in the voltage is there. At that time they are going to stop the electric power supply and they are going to protect the electric appliances. Circuit breakers or fuses protect the equipment, not you. The circuit interrupters or breakers or any fuses, so they only protect the equipment, not the operator who is going to come in contact with the electric appliance. So these are only going to protect the electric appliance, not the operator. But GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupters, not only protect the devices but also they protect the operator or a human who is in contact with the electric appliance from the huge shocks. Next we will study circuit protective devices. Circuit protective devices, they consisting of circuit breakers and fuses. Circuit breakers only protect the building equipments and tools from the heat buildup and never depend upon a circuit breakers or fuses to protect the shocks. The human or operator who is going to operate the electric appliance or electric machines or any mechanical machine in contact with the electric power supply, they should not depend upon a circuit breaker or fuses to prevent the shocks. So these circuit breakers only going to protect the devices or electrical appliances. So these are not going to protect the human. So in order to avoid the shocks to the operator or a human, we have to use the ground fault circuit interrupters. They are nothing but GFCI. So it is a device which will protect the worker from the shock and electrocution, and it will protect the electric appliance from the fluctuation voltages. So GFCI is can be used in connection with all the electrical appliances to avoid the electric shocks, and it is going to protect the electric appliance from the harmful fluctuation voltages. All the temporary circuits are required to have a GFCI protection, or any equipment or quartz must be included in assured equipment grounding conductor program. And extension cord is a temporary circuit, and along with this one you have to use the GFCIs. GFCIs are of different types. It may be a receptacle type, it may be a circuit breaker type, it may be a portable GFCI type. So different types of GFCI are there depending upon the different applications. And all the wires must be correctly tested before going to use in contact with the GFCIs. They must be insulated properly and they should be checked properly, and all the wires should be monitored properly before going to use with the GFCIs. Next comes how GFCI will work. In the figure you can see there is one motor is there, and there is a coil is there, and the coil is connected to the motor, induction motor, and there will be neutral, there will be a high power line, and there will be a grounding is there. But in the figure you can see when the person or operator who is in going to operate the motor, if he becomes the ground connection, so at that time it is very difficult to save him from the electrocution or electric shock. Suppose if GFCI is there, at that time you will be saved from the electric shocks. So GFCI not only avoid the electric appliance from the harmful shocks or fluctuation voltages, but it will protect the human operator also. GFCI detects leakage of 4 to 6 milliamps and opens the circuit in 1 by 40th of the second. So even a small leakage of current is there, and that can be detected by the GFCI, and it will protect the devices. So these are the typical types of GFCI protection. Based upon the application, we can use it in electric industry and in mechanical industry, where the machines are going to operate with high power lines, high voltages. In order to avoid harmful fluctuating voltages or electric leakage, we are going to use the GFCI. A GFCI breaker must be installed to protect the workers using 220 volt masonry saws. In the figure you can see all the electric appliances are fitted with the GFCI, and these are going to avoid the electric shocks to the operator. So in this figure you can see these are the GFCI testers, and these testers are going to tell us about whether the GFCI is going to work properly or not. And 3 light indications are there, and they are going to provide the clear picture of the working of GFCI. Ground fault circuit interrupters, whether they are going to work in a proper manner or not, and we are going to know that whether the GFCI is in contact with the electric appliance properly or not using these GFCI testers. Assured equipment grounding conductor program. So this program tells us about basically it is a written program and specific procedures. It is a set of written program or specific procedures, and that will tell assured equipment grounding conductor program. Every equipment should be grounded properly, and it should have a GFCI. Program implemented by a competent person, and competent person in the sense one who is capable of identifying existing and predictable hazards in the surrounding or working conditions, which are unsanitary, hazardous, or it may be dangerous atmosphere condition, where the employees or organization to take prompt corrective measures to eliminate them. And the equipment grounding conductors must be tested. That means whatever the tools, extension cords or circuits we are going to use in an electric appliance, that should be tested properly. And at least every 3 months for cords and tools, we should set an inspection time or a monitoring time for them. At least every 6 months, receptacles should be tested properly and monitored properly, insulated properly. Whatever the results are there, that should be color coded, and results recorded, equipment coded should be color type like yellow, red, green, black. Should give a proper color coding in order to segregate or identify the tested records or equipment coded records. Checking for the ground continuity using suitable testers, we are going to check whether the electric appliance is grounded properly. See in the figure you can see one drilling machine is there, and the plug you can see it is not insulated properly. A receptacle is weared out, and we are going to check whether it is going to work or not, and we are going to check its electric shock using testers, suitable electric shock testers, and whether the equipment is having a GFCI connection or not, and all these things we are going to check. And whatever the wires are there, extension cords are there, they should be insulated properly. If they are weared out, we have to replace with a new one, and all the electric appliances should be monitored properly, and regularly they should be tested. Why the electric shocks will occur? Due to one reason is due to temporary wiring. There must be separate circuits for electric tools and lighting, and each labeled, and each wire should be labeled properly. Color coding should be given, and light circuits do not require a GFCI. So if the light appliances are there, at the time GFCI is not mandatory. If temporary wiring is there, that should be monitored properly. Usually in civil construction sites, there will be huge temporary wirings will be there, after some months or weeks they will be removed. So for temporary wiring, all the wires should be insulated properly. They should be free from the moisture, and suitable height should be given to the wires, and they should be monitored properly. Test branch circuit before use. That means whatever the branch circuits are there, they should be tested properly for the earthing, for the electrocution, for electric shocks, and voltage fluctuation. All these parameters should be tested. And as I told, the vertical clearance should be maintained before going to install the wires, and insulate wire from the different connections. That means whatever the branch circuit connections are there, at that time wire should be insulated properly. Permanent equipment in a temporary use. In the figure, coming to the extension cords and cables. Extension cords or cables, they must be in good shape without splices. There should not be any splitting of the conductors, insulators, and they should be insulated properly. They cannot be secured with staples, nails, and bare wires. Whatever the extension cords or cables are there, they should not be stapled, should not be nailed. We should not use the nails in order to give a supports to them, and they should not be bare wired, and they must be protected from the damage. Over a long usage, there will be a wear and tear of the extension cords and cables. They should be monitored properly, maintained properly, and there should not be any damage to the cables and extension cords. They must have a ground pin, and they should be grounded properly in order to avoid the shocks. And they should be inspected regularly and pulled from a service if defective. Usually the electric appliances are used for a regular basis, and over a long usage of time there will be some defects. If defects are monitored, then they should be bring into the service properly, and they should be inspected regularly, and a regular basis of monitoring should be done. Cannot be repaired with electric or duct tape. They must be repaired in a heat shrink sleeve, or they should be vulcanizing tape type of insulation properties. Whenever the coils or electric wires or branch type of connections are there, they cannot be repaired with electric or duct tape. They must be repaired in a heat shrink sleeve and bonding vulcanizing type of atmospheric conditions. Acceptable cord types. Coming to which type of wires are used in the electric industry, basically all cords must meet the National Electric Codes, that is monitored and governed by the NEC, National Electric Codes. They have a set of rules and regulations for usage of electric wires and cords. Before going to purchase the wires or electric cords, we should check the markings that is stamped on cords. Acceptable cord types are usually having the marks of S, ST, or SO, or STO. These are for extra hard use markings. Hard usage markings are usually having SJ, or SJO, or SJT, or SJTO. These type of markings are found in wires. So if you find these type of markings, then only these wires can be bought. And this picture depicts that there is a hazardous condition. That means there is one red wire is there for a connection, and these are taped with a black type of taping is there. Anyway, this wire is insulated, but we cannot assure that this wire is going to be work in a proper manner. There are chances of getting electric shocks using this type of wires, so this may lead to the hazardous electric conditions. So we should avoid, and we should give a proper connections. We should give a proper insulation before going to use it. Extension cords, what is the difference? No flat cords allowed on construction sites. That means extension cords are a flat cords. If you see, the yellow one is a flat cord and red one is a round cord. So whenever we are going to use the extension cords, so that should be, we should use a rounded one, and whatever the construction sites are there, they should not use the flat cords. So this picture depicts one more electric hazardous condition where the extension box are manually made using some bottles or some boxes. So this may lead to the electric accident. And in case of a temporary lighting in a construction sites or working sites or in some automobile shops, we should take care. In the figure you can see all the bulbs not insulated properly, not guided properly, and easily this may lead to the electric accidents. All bulb must be guarded properly not avoid electric accident, and no breakage in the bulb should be seen, and there should not be any suspended wire before going to light, and low voltages for wet locations. In case of temporary lighting, if the wet location is there in a construction site or any working site, at that time we should use a low voltage, because high voltage will lead to the electric accident, and using a low voltage you can somehow manage electric shocks. Coming to the portable generators, so generators are basically used for electric power generation, and these are the devices which will give electric voltages. And, usually the portable generator should have following characteristics. The frame of the portable generator need not be grounded if the generator supply only cord or plug connected equipment, and the non-current carrying metal parts of equipment, and the equipment grounding conductor terminals of the receptacles are bonded to the generator frame. GFCI is required if it is more than 5 kilovolts, or if a generator provides 220 volts as well as 110 volts. GFCI, ground fault circuit interrupter, is used only when if it is producing more than 5 kilovolts, or if it is producing 220 volts or 110 volts. At the time we have to use the 110. We have to use the GFCI circuit interrupters. Some of the safe work practices. Before work begins, the employer must determine where exposed or concealed electric circuits are located, and once found, warn sign label signal must be posted. The worker going to work on electric appliance or electric equipment, he should check the safety rules and regulations about that electric equipment. He should use the safety warning signs, labels, and that should be sticked properly to the electric equipment. Worker need to know the location of hazards, and protective measures should be followed properly. Competent person determine if performance of work could bring in contact with energy. Whether it may be a hazardous condition, it is a safe condition, the worker should check his workplace before going to operate on any particular electric appliance. A proper distance of worker to the energy source, that means whenever there is electric energy source is there, proper distance should be maintained. He should wear a safety gloves, he should wear eyeglasses, he should have a suitable electric testing equipments along with him, he should wear safety shoes, and he should have safety rules and regulation, safe practices that are available in the workplaces. The tools and materials and process should be also considered as a safe working practices, and whatever the tools and materials are there, they should be available properly, and they should be tested properly. And before going to use the metallic ladders, forklift, scaffold frames, we should check whether they are in contact with the power source. Any power source, electric power source is there in contact with the metallic ladders or forklifts or scaffold frames, that will lead to the electric accident, and that should be avoided properly. And one more thing, first the The work before going to allow the workman or any operator to work on a particular electric appliance, we have to de-energize the circuit, and proper grounding should be there. And if grounding is not there, ground it properly, and proper installation should be done. And de-energize circuits equipments, for that we have to use the lockout and tagout procedures in order to avoid the accidents. And in the figure you can see the person is using the metallic ladder. No metal ladders for near electric work. That means whenever we are going to use the electric ladders, since it's a metal good conductor of electricity, that may lead to the heavy electric accident, so that should be avoided. No wet hands or while working with electric appliance, and wet hands lead to the electric accident. That's why no wet hands when plugging or unplugging the cords or equipments. No raising or lowering tools by a cord. And unless equipment is designed for it, cannot be used in a damp or a wet locations. So whatever the equipment you are going to use in a construction sites or wet locations or any hazardous condition, at that time you should be careful whether the equipment is designed in such a way that it should avoid electric shocks. If it is going to avoid, then only we can use it. Otherwise we should not use in a wet location or a damp wet conditions. So there are some safety rules and regulations that is given by the Occupational Safety Health Administrations. So these are the citations: 404B1I branch circuits, that means related to the GFCI. They have given some set of rules and regulations. 404F6 related to the grounding path, 403B2 related to the equipment installation use, and 404B1 second section, that is related to the GFCI, and 403I2I section will give the guarding live parts. So these are the safety rules and regulations that are listed in different sections of OSHA. Overall summary of hazardous and protections, how to avoid the safety rules, how to avoid the electric accidents by practicing the safety rules and regulations in contact with the electric appliances. So these are the hazards and protective measures. In case of inadequate wiring, we should have the proper grounding as a protective measure. In case of exposed electric parts, we should use the GFCI. If wires are with a bad insulation, we have to use the fuses and circuit breakers. Ungrounded electric systems and tools are there, so we should use the suitable guarding live parts. And some more hazards like overloaded circuits, damaged power tools, using some wrong PP, overhead power lines. All hazards are made with the worst and wet locations, damaged extension cords, unqualified workers. So these are the hazardous work practices that may lead to electric accidents. So in association with, we have to avoid the electric accident by using some protective measures, like we have to use the guided live parts, we have to use the lockout and tagout procedures, we have to use a proper flexible cords, close the electric panels by a competent person. Employee training should be done properly before allowing the person to work on electric appliances. We should ensure that a competent person on a proper working site. We should provide a proper approved electric equipment to the worker or operator. A qualified person should install electric devices. So by following all these safety work measures or protective measures or good work practices, we can avoid the electric accidents.